أعوذ بالله من الشیطان الرجیم بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. Hello everyone. I am making this video in response to one of the brothers who asked me about the difference between SOWM and SIYAM. So the question was, why is it that in chapter 19 of the Quran, Allah uses the word SOWM, but then in chapter 2, when the commandment for fasting is issued in the Quran, Allah uses the word SIYAM. So is there possibly any difference between SAWM and SIYAM, or are they referring to the same act? So that is the question. So just to give you a little bit of background, right now if you go to all Arab speaking countries, they use the word SAWM and SIYAM interchangeably. There is absolutely no difference between them. So that's one thing you know. As of right now, in all Arabic speaking countries, they are the same. They mean the exact same thing. In fact, the word SIYAM comes from the word SAWM. SAWM is the root word of Sad, Wav, Mim. And SIYAM comes from SAWM, from the exact same root. The SIYAM is a Masdar, whereas SAWM is a noun. Let's just go over the instances of these two words, and then we will talk a little bit more about the grammar and the grammatical difference between these two words. Okay, so the word SAWM has been used once in chapter 19 of the Quran in regards to the fasting that Maryam was upholding. So, and this is obviously an example of fasting that Allah gives to us through one of His holy ones, one of His righteous servants. So Allah gives us an example of fasting through Maryam. Obviously, in this instance, Allah tells Maryam that when you see anyone, tell them that I am fasting, and because I am fasting, therefore I will not engage in any sort of conversation. I will not talk to any human beings. And that is how Allah is giving us an example and also the definition of fasting. Now, also in chapter 19 and in also chapter 3 of the Quran, Allah gives us the example of Zechariah. Now, over there, Allah does not use the word SAWM. However, Allah commands Zechariah to do the exact same thing for 3 days and 3 nights. So I have another video. I will put the link up there on top of the screen and also in the description so you can actually see that I go through the details of those verses. Allah commands Zechariah to do the exact same thing that Maryam is doing. However, Allah doesn't use the word SAWM over there in regards to what Zechariah did for 3 days and 3 nights. But it's very easily understood that it's the exact same thing. Hence, we could apply the exact same name of SAWM or fasting to what Zechariah was doing as well. Now, the question is SAWM or SIYAM the same? As I mentioned, SAWM is noun. So SAWM means fast, right? But SIYAM is Masdar. What does it mean? It means SIYAM means fasting. So fasting versus fast, or swimming versus a swim, driving versus a drive. So let me give you an example. I'm hoping that this example would make it a little bit more clear for you. So you could say, I like swimming, right? Or you could say, I like to go for a swim. When you say, I like swimming, you're using the Masdar or a gerund. In English, we call it a gerund, right? When you say, I like to go for a swim, you're using the noun form of it, or ism. So both of them, however, refer to the exact same thing, swimming versus a swim. You could say, I like driving. So when you say I like driving, driving is a masdar, or in English we call it a gerund. Or you could say I like to go for a drive. In that case, you are using the noun or esm form of it. But both of them are referring to the same thing. I like to go for a drive, or I like to go driving is the same thing. Driving is just a different form, different way of saying the same thing. So the same applies to both SAWM and SIYAM. SAWM means a fast, whereas SIYAM means fasting. It's basically a gerund or a masdar form of the word SAWM, which is a noun or a ism form of it. So that's all the difference that exists between SAWM or SIYAM. Now the question is, can I prove this from the Quran? So if this is the case, we have to find other instances of fasting that actually have nothing to do with the SIYAM and actually come from the word SAWM directly. So Allah usually gives us hints. Allah gives us hints in the Quran because Allah does not want us to be misguided unless we want to choose to ignore those pieces of evidence to follow what we actually want to do ourselves. In that case, there is enough room for us to go wrong. But other than that, Allah puts evidence for us in the Quran to see. So one of those evidences is actually in chapter 33, verse number 35. In this verse, Allah refers to those who fast, to the men who fast as SAEMIN, and to the women who fast as SAEMAAT. SAEM is on the weight of fa'il, and fa'il obviously we know it comes from fa'ala, right? From the root of fa'ala. So SAEM comes from the root savama, sad, wav, meme. So SAEM is someone who is doing a SOWM, someone who is doing the action of a SOWM. So as you can see, both SAEMIN and SAEMAAT refer to men or women who do and complete the action of a SOWM. Again, it has nothing to do with SIYAM. SIYAM is just a masdar or the gerund form of the word SAWM. But when Allah is referring to a person who observes the fast, to the men who observe the fast and the women who observe the fast, Allah uses the word SAEMIN wa SAEMAAT. It means those who do SAWM. It comes from exactly from the root SAWM on the weight of fa'il. Another evidence actually is in chapter 2, verse number 184. Again, if you look at it, Allah uses the verb form of fasting. What does Allah say in this verse? وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And if you fast, that is better for you. So again, look at it. Tasumu is the verb, right? But tasumu is coming exactly from the root of sad, wav, mim, which the noun form of it, SAWM, comes from. Actually, you don't even need to really know much grammar here. Just ignore the ta. Just ignore the ta here at the beginning and ignore the wav, aleph at the end of it. You end up with sad, wav, mim. You have the sad, wav, mim in the middle. So you have the sad, wav, mim, SAWM. You can see the SAWM here. So when Allah is using the verb form, He says, وَأَن تَصُومُوا. What does it mean, وَأَن تَصُومُوا? It means, and if you do perform the action of a SAWM. Tasumu means, is a verb form of it, is basically doing the action of a SAWM. So if you do the action of a SAWM, that is better for you. Again, Allah does not use anything referring to SIYAM. It uses the action of the word SIYAM. Why? Because as I told you, SIYAM is just a masdar form. It's a gerund. The same chapter, next verse, verse number 185, you can see the exact same thing happen. It says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ, says whoever is present in this month, as long as you are alive and you are in this month, you live this month, you are present in this month, فَلْيَصُمْ, They have to fast. But what kind of a verb does Allah use here? It says fal yasum. Again, the same thing. This is the same verb that was used. The vav has fallen at the middle. The vav, because of grammatical, because of the way it is pronounced, it has fallen, but it's really the same thing. If you look at the Arabic grammar, and I'm not going to go through the whole grammar thing because it becomes very complex. I want it to be simple so you can understand. But the vav is here, it just has fallen. But again, fal yasum, it means that he has to perform the action of the SAWM. So you have to perform the action of a SAWM. So what is the action of a SAWM? It's SAWM, it's fast. So that's what it is. So as you can see, Allah is giving us clear evidences that that SIYAM is the same action of SAWM, it's just a Masdar for or gerund of it. I really hope that this made sense, and if it didn't, please leave comments below. But Allah gives us actually 3 examples, as I mentioned, as SAEMIN wa SAEMAAT and tasumu, falyasum. All of these are actually directly from SAWM. It's just directly, they're using exactly the SAWM. Particularly verse number 35 of chapter 33 just makes it so clear. It's just, this is very simple. Very simple. SAEMIN on the weight of fa'ilin is basically means those who perform the action of a SAWM. That's what it means. The men who perform the action of the SAWM, and SAEMAAT means the women who perform the action of the SAWM. And what is the action of the SAWM? Allah has defined it for us exactly in verse number 26 of chapter 19. The action of the SAWM, Maryam is telling us what it is. I am fasting. Because I am doing the action of the SAWM, because I am fasting, I'm not going to be talking to anyone, basically for a yawm. Remember, for a yawm. What is a yawm? Again, please watch that video, the link that I put up here. A yawm is 24-hour period. A yawm is a 24-hour period. It's both day and night. It starts at the beginning of dawn and ends at the beginning of the dawn next day. So that is a yawm. It's 24-hour period. So for that duration of time, for that 24-hour, you're basically not allowed to talk to any human being. So that's what fasting or a SAWM is. Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. Please leave comments below. Let me know if my brothers and sisters want me to go into a little bit further details of Arabic grammar. I will gladly do that for you. May Allah bless you all, and ma'as salam.